Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Planes, Trains, and Comic Books channel. My name's Matt, and today we're going to review Neverender #1. But before we get into that, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, commenting, it really helps me out and lets me know what you guys want to see more of. So, with that being said, let's get straight into it. All right, we got the cover here for Neverender #1. It is a Behemoth comic, and it is by Kraft, Akis, and Lou. And we start this comic off in the middle of a duel in space. This is set in a dystopian future where mankind has moved off of Earth and into the stars. And part of the entertainment of this new civilization is these space sword duels. And these duels are to the death. Then we get to one of the planets that's part of this civilization, and we meet our main character, Merrick, who is getting beat by his father. Then we cut to later in Merrick's day where he's at school, and the teacher asks Merrick a question, and Merrick gets a little smart with his answer, and the teacher actually hits him once, but Merrick blocks the second punch. Then a month later, we get a little backstory that there's been a bunch of riots going on, and Merrick and his friends go to a bar to hang out, and one of his friends gets in a fight, so Merrick steps in to help, and unfortunately he goes a little overboard, and he gets thrown in jail. But luckily for Merrick, he has a friend named Dr. Urasawa who bails him out, and Dr. Urasawa is kind of like a scientist that's working on a spaceship. And the doctor asks Merrick basically to be his assistant. So the doctor takes him through the spaceship and gives him the lowdown on everything inside. And during the whole time that Doc is teaching Merrick, there's still a bunch of riots and civil unrest. And one of those riots breaks out near their spaceship. And while they're trying to get through the crowd, someone punches the doctor, and he and Merrick get separated. And Merrick, having got to the spaceship, begins to get angry because one of his friends is in danger. So he starts punching stuff around the ship. And on accident, he hits the start button, and the spaceship begins to take off. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't want to spoil anything else. So I thought this was a really ambitious comic. It's even oversized. It's like 40 pages long. And I like the style of it. It's got a very manga-esque feel, even though it's in an American comics form. I feel like the writer did a really good job introducing the world, which is pretty hard because there's a lot of stuff going on. And because it's a sci-fi world, you have to introduce all these ideas like the dueling, the different planets, the technology, all that stuff. So I feel like the writer did a really good job of keeping track of all of that and giving the reader just enough to know what's going to happen, but not so much that you get bogged down with all the jargon or world building elements. And I thought the art was pretty cool too. It kind of reminded me of Astro Boy or something like that. So definitely there's some manga influence in there. It's also mostly black and white. I think there's some other kind of shading that's not quite black and white. And depending on where you're at, if you're in space, the shading is different than when you're in the city. So I thought that was really cool and like a good detail to add. So overall, I think this is a really good first issue for the series. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I think especially for an indie book, this one really hit it out of the park. And just overall, a really solid first issue. So if you saw anything you like, definitely go pick that up at your local comic book store. And we will see y'all in the next one.